everyone, and welcome to you all. Happy New Year. Welcome to episode 106 of the Talk is Cheap show, the first show of 2022. We have another great show lined up for you today, but before we get started in earnest, allow me to introduce my special guest, a man who is also my good friend, my co-host, my resident expert, show analyst, former professional footballer, now social media influencer of much renown. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please give a big digital round of applause for none other than Mr. Curtis Shaw from Curtis Shaw TV in the house. What are you saying, bro?
Yo, what's happening, bro? Happy New Year, Laurie. Happy New Year to everyone watching. And let's hope it's a great and prosperous 2022 for everyone.
Absolutely, man. And you're in good health. No COVID disruptions for you and your family, I hope.
No, we're all right at the moment, man. Just like I say, man, I'm drinking that, that ginger tea and all of that, trying to keep the immune system strong, So, yeah, same old. I'm good, thankfully.
I've been loading up on the zinc and vitamin C and D. So any of you out there need a couple of tips, my research pointed me in that direction. Zinc, vitamin C and vitamin D is good for fighting off viruses like COVID. So bit of a tip for you all out there watching, man. But yeah, so let's get into it, man. News and notes, first segment of the show. As you'll no doubt be aware, everybody watching, we're in the month of January, and with that comes transfer news, speculation and rumor. And Arsenal, being the kind of club they are, they're always in the thick of things, and there's been a few things going in and around the football club. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, we spoke about this last week on the show, but it now looks like that move is very much going to happen. It looks very much as if he's on his way to Roma. Curtis, any thoughts on that one? Now that we know,
I think it's probably I think it's a deal that Ainsley needs. I think I've said before, I think Ainsley's been quite hard done by Arsenal. We could have sold him to Wolves for good money. We refused it. We could have, let him go to Everton in the summer. The guy was pleading for help on social media in the end. But I think it's a good move for him. Interesting that we're doing Mourinho a favour, considering he kind of trolled us on the Granit Xhaka deal in the summer, and he's done us a couple of times in the past. I think it's a good move for Ainsley. Interesting that there's no option or obligation to buy. So I think Arsenal are hoping he goes there, does really well, and we can sell him for an inflated price like we sort of did with Joe Willock. So listen, good luck to Ainsley, and I think he's always wanted to prove himself at Arsenal. I think he needs to really establish what his best position is and kind of focus on that. So yeah, good luck to Ainsley, and I think it's a good move for him, to be honest. Big club, Roma.
Yeah, agreed. And he goes with our blessings, I'm sure. So I hope that one goes well. I'm sure we'll be watching and see how he does. But good luck to him. Speculation about Eddie Nketiah possibly going to Palace. That seems to be one of the forerunners. Any thoughts on that one?
This is interesting because obviously there were rumours that we maybe turned down an offer from them in the summer for him. And now they're kind of coming back in for him. I'm sure it'll be a very reduced price. I've said before, respectfully, I don't think at the moment Eddie Nketiah is Arsenal level. He is a young player with some obvious talents, but also I think he lacks certain things as well. And I think he'll gain that if he plays more football. He wants a new contract. He wants guarantees of playing time. And I just don't think Arsenal, the direction they're moving in, can guarantee Eddie Nketiah game time. So I wouldn't be surprised if he went to Palace. I know he's been linked with one or two German clubs as well. So it wouldn't surprise me if Eddie left. I can't lie.
It's interesting with Eddie because a couple of weeks ago, he had that great moment and he scored a hat-trick, and the manager was publicly eulogizing and saying, what a great player he was for the club and how keen he was to stay. And then that was the last time we saw him, wasn't it? A couple of weeks ago, we haven't seen him since.
No.
Yeah, so that's interesting. But I think you're right. I think a move probably does benefit him, actually. We'll see how that one goes as well. Whilst we're on strikers, Balogun to Borough on loan. What do you think about that one, bro?
Yeah, I don't mind that one. I think Balogun, he's a bit of an under-23 star, isn't he? But I still think he needs that first team football, Middlesbrough, up in the northeast, the cold weather. It's a real welcome to the championship sort of club up there. But they're a former Premier League club, big fan base. And listen, I think Balogun's got massive potential, but I think he does need to go and play first team football. So yeah, for me, I'd be in favour of that. And then hopefully comes back in the summer a little bit more streetwise.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the common denominator in those three that we've just spoken about is that they all need first team football, regular football. And if they can get that, I think that's suits them. And then let's face it, it's mutually beneficial because hopefully they come back to Arsenal as even better players. So
yeah.
Okay. Well, that was the kind of outgoings. Possible incomings. Tariq Lamptey's been linked with the club. Not for the first. How do you see that one going, bro?
Do you know what? I like Lamptey, but I just don't understand the link. I'm like, we've just signed Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu's been quality for us this season. They're talking about Lamptey at 50 million. I'm like, number one, he's not worth 50 million. And number two, where do you play him if you sign him? I know there was talk of maybe Chambers leaving, so maybe we need another right back. I just think we've got bigger priorities than spending 50 million on a right back. So I like Lamptey. I can understand the link. He's very good going forward, which is something that people want to maybe see a bit more from Tomiyasu, his attacking qualities. But I just don't see a need to bring Lamptey in, although I do think he is a good player.
Yeah. Again, I agree, man. We were pursuing him before. He didn't get anywhere. Went cold on the trail, and then now he's back being talked about again. But I have to say, I have been very impressed with him when I've watched him. So it's possible. Okay. Moving on. And so Dusan Vlahovic is a name that we've been linked with for a while now. Seems to be going back and forth. And I'm hearing more rumours again this morning that it could be a possibility. What's your thoughts on that one?
I mean, this is becoming like the new Higuain, Benzema, Draxler, like talking about him every day at the moment on the streams and stuff. But it's interesting because I think he ticks a lot of the boxes that we want. But the interesting thing, he doesn't seem overly keen on Arsenal. There was even rumours that his agent is ignoring the phone, treating us like private number business and that. So, listen, if we could get Vlahovic to Arsenal, I think it'd be a very good signing. He's 21, powerful, scores goals, left-footed. But, it's tough when a player doesn't really want to come to you. On one hand, a lot of fans will say, I don't want a player at Arsenal that doesn't really want to come here. But then sometimes, a player just needs convincing. I think the problem with Vlahovic at the moment, we got no European football to offer him. But the interesting thing, what I read, he earns around 25 grand a week, which is peanuts at Arsenal. We could easily drop 150, 200 grand on him. All of a sudden, his head turns and, Arsenal looks a bit more attractive. So it's an interesting one. I think he's gettable, but I don't think we're a priority. I don't think we're the main course anymore. We're just, with the bread that you get before the starter comes out, So it'll be a tough one, but he is a good player.
Well, if the rumours are to be believed, he said that he doesn't view Arsenal as an ambitious enough project. That's quite damning, isn't it?
That's damning.
I mean, I hope he didn't say that, but if he did, that is quite damning, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah. It's the reality of where we are, I suppose. These players want Europe, Champions League, and so it'll be interesting. Money talks, man. Money does talk. That's the thing.
It does, yeah. I guess we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. But that's just some of the transfer rumours doing the rounds as of this timing of this show. I just wanted to get your thoughts on another news and notes item. I heard yesterday that our forgotten friend in many parts, Alba, has contracted COVID. The bad luck seems to continue for him, doesn't it? It would appear.
Yeah. I mean, the Aubameyang, this story I was talking about yesterday, and he was, the fans were kind of laying into him again. What's he doing? Blah, blah, blah. From what I've read, and I'm going to keep it balanced, I hear that he was in Dubai with the Gabonese players that are not local based. So all the players from around Europe, They were in Dubai. I think there's a bit of a debate going on with the Gabonese FA around payments and stuff, which we've heard these kind of stories before. So he was in Dubai with a few players. They were at a restaurant, and he's caught COVID. So first of all, get well soon. And listen, man, I think. Look, the story isn't going to do him any favors because Mikel Arteta is going to be sitting there going, see, I told you, he's trouble's following him everywhere, blah, blah, blah. The fans will lay the boot in, but, I don't think he's done anything really wrong. It sounds as if they had a couple of days off. They were in Dubai and he's unfortunately caught COVID, but, when you're not flavor of the month, anything you do wrong is going to be held against you. So, it doesn't help, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I saw one headline, ABBA catches COVID after partying in Dubai, and I thought, come on, really? You know what I mean? Like, when the knives are out for you, they really are, you know what I mean? So, but listen, on a more serious note, we hope that he makes a quick recovery. It looks like he's going to miss Gabon's first game, but it's expected that he will play a part in the tournament. And I really hope he does, because he needs to be playing football, man. I know that he scored a goal in a friendly that they had pre-tournament against Mauritania. So, he needs some football. He needs some luck to go his way, because he's been a bit of a difficult time for him, man. But we're pulling for him, man. I hope everything works out okay. All right, bro. Thanks for that. Moving on again then to our review of Arsenal's last game, which is one of our regular features, obviously. Arsenal's last game, we welcomed the champions and champions-elect Man City to the Emirates. City, of course, were flying high, weren't they? 10 straight wins. Arsenal also on a good run of form, 5 straight wins up until that game. So, it was a much sought-after game in terms of, the amount of interest around it. And it was a very good game, especially the first half. Arsenal were excellent from most of that half. And were clearly the better side. And Bukayo Saka, once again, goal on 31 minutes. And you're thinking, yeah, man, this could be our day. So we finished off the first half well on top. Come out in the second half, again, playing well. But then after about 50 minutes, I think it was on the 55th minute, things started to go a bit wrong. And I think we had about a 5-10 minute period where, it has to be said, I think we imploded a little bit. Starting with your mate, Granit.
No, that's your mate.
Not for the first time, Granit, guilty of some indiscretion.
Yeah.
He's adjudged to foul Bernardo Silva. It was a foul, let's be honest. I mean, there's a lot of talk about referees and stuff like that. But he clearly had hold of Bernardo Silva's shirt. He's fouled him there. The ref's given a penalty. And it kind of went downhill from there, really, didn't it?
Yeah.
In the space of about 5-10 minutes, we imploded. We ended up clutching defeat from the jaws of victory, as I like to say. But it was a disappointing end. I mean, like I said, there was some controversy over the referee who didn't have a great day, Stuart Atwell, it has to be said. But for my money, man, I think that was a game that we should have won. And we committed some errors and we went on to lose the game. Curtis, what was your thoughts on the game, bro?
I think to start off in a positive way, I think the first 45 minutes is the best 45 minutes I've seen from Arsenal in, easily this season, but maybe even beyond. Just from the fact that, even though we've beat City before in the FA Cup, we kind of sat back and allowed them onto us and then nicked a goal on the counter-attack. Where this game, we actually took it to Man City and actually, in my opinion, outplayed them in that first half. I think the disappointing thing was that we were only 1-0 up. I think if we could have got a second, maybe you finish the game off. Having said that, obviously we didn't win the game, which was very disappointing. And look, I thought the referee was poor, as a lot of referees in this league are poor. However, for me, you should always take accountability first before you start blaming a referee. And we have to admit, we threw that game away ourselves. We can talk about how bad the referee was after, and I agree with anybody who says the referee wasn't good enough. But Granit Xhaka gives away a needless penalty that he doesn't need to give. It might be a soft penalty in some people's eyes, but for me, that's 100% a penalty. If that was against Arsenal, we'd all be screaming for it. Doesn't need to grab his shirt. Gabriel gets 2 silly yellow cards. You know, whether the first yellow card is soft or not for dissent, you don't then 5 minutes later take somebody out on the halfway line on a counter attack. Just let him go past you, you know. So that's something he needs to learn from. I'm a big fan of Gabriel, but at times he's a little bit emotional. And then Martinelli misses, you know, an open goal from 8 or 9 yards out. I know, again, Stuart Atwell kind of jogging in front of him, you know, which was a bit crazy. But having said that, you would expect Martinelli to score that. And I think when you play against a team like Manchester City, you can't give them anything. You give them a penalty, you give them a man advantage, you miss an open goal, and then we get punished right at the end. So I think we have to learn. We have to learn. We've got a young team, inexperienced. You don't win a game at half time, so got to cut those moments out. And listen, I have to praise the team. Because to be disappointed when you've lost to Man City shows that you're making progress when you've lost 5-0 away from home to them. So we're definitely moving in the right direction, but I still felt like it was an opportunity missed. I actually think City were there to be beaten that day. And yeah, hopefully we don't regret that at the end of the season. But yeah, it was disappointing not to get at least a point.
It was. And like I said, to me, we kind of imploded in that 10-minute period from the 55th minute. Like I said, I thought it was definitely a penalty. Some people were saying it was a bit harsh, but once you're adjudged to have been grabbing onto someone's shirt like that in the box, then really you've got to be expecting the worst. And then, like you said, with the Gabriel incidents, yeah, again, you could say the first one was soft, but we don't even know. A lot of people are speculating as to how the first booking came about. Was it him showing dissent to the referee? Was it him scuffing up the box? But either one, he should not have found himself in the book for. And then the second, if you know you're on a yellow card, to make a challenge like that, you're basically asking the referee to make a decision. You know what I mean? And so if it doesn't go your way, you can't really complain. And then, like you quite rightly pointed out, for all of that, we still had an opportunity to get another goal, and we didn't take it. Not that I'm overly criticising Martinelli, but the facts are the facts. So, listen, man, to me, unforced errors, and that costs us dearly. We've spoken on the show about game management, and unfortunately, once again, we didn't manage a game we should have won, and we went on to lose it. But hey, hopefully we'll learn from that. Okay, thanks for that. We should, of course, be talking about a second game, Arsenal versus Liverpool in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup. But as we all know now, Liverpool did their best to get it called off, and I guess they were successful. Like Wolves, their pull-out game is strong. So, what was your thoughts on that, Bridget? Yeah, I mean, you know my thoughts, man. I think some of these games are getting postponed all too easily. Did you have any thoughts on the Liverpool one? Was it justified?
You know what? I have to tread carefully when I talk about it because, you know, it's a difficult conversation. I think people felt like Liverpool wanted the game to be called off. But I've said before that the whole process is wrong. You know, the Premier League allow the clubs to test their own players and give them their results. So it feels like something that could be manipulated if you wanted to. Surely the Premier League should send their own people in to test and say, this is how many are you know, positive and negative. And if it reaches a certain number, then the game has to be called off. I'm hearing things like, 18 people, but 12 of them are staff. Well, I'm like, do you know what I mean? The tea lady ain't playing at right back. So, you know, surely you can still play. Listen, I don't know. Liverpool opened their training ground today. And, you know, the comments were, there's a lot of angry Arsenal fans in the comments going, the training ground's open.
It was a little suspicious, the fact that, you know what I mean, they've opened it back up now. They've got Shrewsbury in the FA Cup over the weekend. So it's okay to play Shrewsbury, but it's not okay to play us. I just find that.
I think different competitions have different rules, I think. I think the FA Cup, you kind of have to play, even if you have to play your youth team, where the EFL Cup, the rules are a little bit different. So, I mean, listen, it's one of them. The game's still going to have to be played. I just think from a purely Arsenal point of view, we kind of wanted to get that game played at that time, and Liverpool had a few players missing that they'll now have back for this game. So, yeah, it's one of them. I blame the league and that more because I don't think the rules are clear enough, to be honest.
Well, without wishing to belabor the point too much, I mean, I did have a cursory look on Liverpool's website, and I noted straight away they've got a first team squad of 41 players. They've also got academy players. You know what I mean? So I find it a little hard to believe that they couldn't raise a team. Not everybody had COVID. Not everyone was injured. I'm sure if they really wanted to, they could have played that game. But that's just my opinion. But like I said, I won't belabor it because we've spoken about it a couple of weeks on the trot now. But yeah, like I said, Liverpool, like Wolves, their pull-out game is very strong. So, talking of cups, bro, traditionally, in the first weekend of the new year is FA Cup week. The Premier League sides join the FA Cup in the third round. It's the biggest domestic cup competition, and it's the third round stage, and we've been drawn away against Nottingham Forest, which is a game I would imagine has special significance for you, given up that you grew up in Nottingham. So yeah, I'm sure you'll be looking forward to that game. Arsenal are record holders of the competition, so it's a competition traditionally we've done very well in. We've won it 14 times. We won it as recently as 2020. We beat Chelsea 2-1. I won't tell you who scored the goals in that game. Yeah, Notts Forest are our opposition. And before I ask you for your comments, some receipts on Forest that I've managed to look up. Forest, they're not a Premier League team. They're a Championship side. They're currently 9th in the Championship. They've got 34 points. This season, they've played 25 games, won 9, drawn 7 and lost 9. They have lost their last 2 games, funny enough, away to Middlesbrough and at home to Huddersfield. So they're not coming into this game in the best of form. So it is a game that really and truly, I think that draw is quite favourable to Arsenal, although the game is away from home. And although the last time we played them in a cup competition, I think we did lose to Forest away. So we can't be too complacent. But I would have thought that draw is quite favourable. Curtis, what's your thoughts on that game, bro?
Yeah, man. I mean, looking forward to the game. I thought the game was in doubt because Forest game got called off on Monday, actually, because of COVID. But it sounds as if the cases have calmed down and the game should go ahead. So no Liverpool part 2.
It's funny that when the clubs want the games to go ahead, they seem to be able to get teams out, don't they?
Well, yeah,
that's games to go ahead. It seems to be something you can lean back on. But anyway, like I said,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think we beat them in the Carabao Cup a year or so ago at the Emirates. But the last time we played them in the FA Cup at the City Ground, they actually beat us. Arsene Wenger was in charge. I think we had a weakened team out and they kind of bullied us a little bit. It's going to be interesting what kind of team selection Arteta goes for, because obviously we got 4 players at the African Cup of Nations. Gabriel is suspended as well. So that's 5 players we're missing already. So I'm just thinking with the Liverpool game on Thursday and Spurs next weekend, will he go full strength? I think he'll rotate in a few areas. I think you'll see probably Leno, maybe Cedric, Lokonga and Nketiah, players like that maybe coming. Like you said, Forest lost their last couple games. They were on a bit of a resurgent run under Steve Cooper before that, but they've kind of slowed down a little bit. So I think we're catching them at a good time. I do think we'll beat them, although I think it will be a tricky game. It's a late kickoff. City Ground will be full. It's on TV as well.
You think it'll be thrown up?
Yeah. So I think they'll be fired up for it. But I think if we can score early and calm them down, I think we'll be all right. So it's a game that I want to see us win. Because we won the FA Cup in 2020, and then we kind of just stumbled out of it miserably last year at Southampton, which I didn't like.
I actually listed that as one of my lowlights of last year when we went out of the competition in such a miserable. That was a very miserable day, wasn't it? It's a tepid performance, and we went out, and it was just one of those performances where you think, "Come on," you know what I mean? Like we were the holders of that of the competition that year, and to go out in that fashion was really unacceptable, the performance we put up. So I'm hoping that this weekend we at least put in a performance worthy of the name, and we do take it seriously. I think we will. I think we need to, because and this brings me nicely to a conversation that me and you have had on this show before, and I wanted to explore it a bit more now. I'm actually a big believer in the cup competitions, as people can tell just by looking at me. I'm a bit older than a lot of fans out there, and I value the cups highly. Both cups. I mean, we haven't the Carabao Cup. I don't think we've won the League Cup since early 90s. And then with the FA Cup, we have won it a lot of times, but I do think there's a lot of value in winning the FA Cup. And as I've said before on this show, and I'll say it again now, if you offered me a choice between winning the cups and qualifying for the Champions League, I'll take the cups. You know what I mean? And I know you feel slightly differently, don't you, Curtis, about that?
Well, the thing is, Laurie, from a, when I used to play as well, it's all about cups. It's all about winning things. So in that sense, I do agree with you. But where I see it different now is, what do I think would benefit Arsenal the most right now? And I just think for Arsenal, listen, I hope Arsenal win both the domestic cups this year. It's great going to Wembley and all of that. I just think the way football has gone now, you need to be in that Champions League. And Arsenal haven't been in it now for, I think, 4 or 5 seasons. And I think you've seen the struggles that Arsenal have had trying to get rid of players, trying to bring players in. Would Vlahovic be saying no to Arsenal 7, 8 years ago? He'd be jumping through hoops to get there. You know what I mean? But now he's going, well, no Champions League. It's not an exciting enough project for me. I'm not interested. And I just don't...
He didn't say that, did he? He talked about the ambition of the club as a whole.
Oh, he doesn't think we're ambitious enough. But I'm sure if we had Champions League, you wouldn't hear him say that. So, listen, I do agree with you in the sense that I love the trophies. I think as a player, you look back on what you've won, not where you finished in a league table. If you don't win it, it doesn't really matter. But I just think Arsenal, they've won FA Cups in recent years, and it hasn't had no significant effect on us moving forward. And I just think getting in that top 4, getting in the Champions League would be a bigger springboard for Arsenal than winning the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup. So, I suppose we've got to agree to disagree. Let us know in the comments, people. Let us know in the comments.
It's a very interesting debate. I mean, listen, I'm going to throw something at you now.
Go on.
I was thinking about this last night. We often hear a lot of people say exactly what you said there about the importance of the Champions League and being able to attract players. So I got to thinking last night, especially in light of the Philippe Coutinho move. Now, it's common knowledge that Coutinho wanted to come back to the Premier League. And I think it's also fair to say that Arsenal were one of a number of clubs in the race for Coutinho. Now, whether we agree with it or not, that's immaterial. I think it's fairly safe to say that the club itself, Arsenal, were definitely interested in Philippe Coutinho, yeah? Right, so it's looking to all intents and purposes that he's going to join Villa. Now, last time I checked, Villa have not ever played any Champions League football. I mean, you could go back to the European Cup many, many moons ago, Brian Clough days. But they haven't played any Champions League football. And I'm also right in thinking that's the second time now that Villa have taken a player from under our noses. Buendia, who was previously at Norwich and then went to Villa, was a previous one, midfielder. So I would argue, where does that apply there? Villa haven't played any Champions League. That's 2 top players that have chosen to go to Villa over Arsenal, I might add.
But then what I would say, the times where we've gone for those 2 players, we haven't had Champions League football. We tried to sign Buendia in the summer, no Europe, and Coutinho now with no Europe. So I think that's why it made it an even playing field, where a player would go, maybe Villa. I think if we're in the Champions League and we go for Emi Buendia, I don't even think he's thinking about Villa. I don't think Coutinho is thinking about Villa. So this is what I mean. Without Champions League football, you know, when we was in the Champions League, we got Sanchez, we got Ozil, you know, we were getting players like that. We were being linked with Benzema and Higuain, top level players.
Linked,
Linked with.
linked with, but we didn't get it across the line.
No, well, we got Sanchez and Ozil, but listen, I just think now, you know, these players, you hear the way modern players talk, you know, they talk about Champions League. I don't often hear a player talk about, you know, the FA Cup. You know, you see a lot of these big teams now, they put in weak teams out in the FA Cup. You would have never seen that 10 years ago. You know, when I was a kid, FA Cup final day was massive. The whole day, the build up, Wembley, where I watched that for hours. You know, I think the FA Cup now is not what it used to be. And listen, I'm with you.
I would agree with that. It's just that what I'm saying is, I mean, I can remember our experiences of the Champions League were invariably that we would get ill excited about finishing in 4th place. We'd go into the Champions League that year. Invariably, we'd get a decent draw. But we wouldn't do that well in the group stage. So, and if we did get past the group stage, we'd go out in the next round. And it always ended disappointingly for me, which is why I wasn't always, I didn't think, in other words, what I'm trying to say is, I'm not convinced that we were always competitive in the Champions League as far as
I agree.
Going far in it. So if you look at it, although, you know, I mean, the likes of the board and stuff like that, they would have been more than happy going in Champions League because it helps fill the coffers financially. And although, yes, you know, you speaking before about that music even and how intoxicating.
Oh, I need that music. I need that music, Laurie. Tuesday, Wednesday night, I need that music.
You need that music. But yeah, okay, the music is intoxicating and it's great to say you're rubbing shoulders with some of the best players in the world. But ultimately, we weren't doing very well in the competition. No. And I kind of got fed up with it towards the end. But I never get fed up with winning trophies, bro. I mean, cast your mind back to that day, 2020, when we won the FA Cup against Chelsea.
Yeah.
I mean, you was with us when we did the watch along for that game. Can you remember how excited we all were?
Yeah, the atmosphere was amazing.
Yeah, the atmosphere was amazing. And then, you know, you won something. You do also qualify for Europa League, you know. So, like I said, and I'm going to stick with this, bro. If you give me the choice between winning the Cups or just merely qualifying for the Champions League, I'm going to take the Cups, bro.
Yeah, well, listen, as much as I do agree with you, I just think we need that Champions League. I do. And listen, it's the way football's gone. It has changed from kind of the traditional sense, you know. Remember years ago, Wenger was like, listen, top four's a trophy. We all slaughtered him because we were like, what? Like, what are you talking about? But in a sense, it's kind of come to light that because the way the modern player thinks, I think they just want to be in that competition. It's almost like the World Cup of club football. It's like, it's the pinnacle of football. So I agree with you, you know, when we was in the Champions League, you know, I didn't feel like for years we could win that trophy. We were in it just to make up the numbers. So in that sense, I do agree with you. Even if we qualified this year, it's not like next year I'm going to be thinking, oh, we can win this. You know, we're in it just as also Rans. It's just to put those building blocks in place to move this club forward. I think we have to have Champions League. I think the best way to agree with it is we probably need both. You know, why not? Can we get top four and win a domestic trophy? You know, probably both.
It's just that, like I said, with years of being in that competition, and I was towards the end, I was getting quite disillusioned with the fact that
I agree with that.
Go no further. And ultimately, it was failure, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And like I said, contrast that with winning a major trophy, a day out for the fans, something to get excited about. I'll take that all day long over saying, yeah, I went to Milan and it was unfortunate we never got out the group stage. But, you know, that year we saw guys like, you know, Vlahovic come to the Emirates and, you know, and stuff like that. Yeah, for me, nah, man. I'm old school, man. I like to me, sport at the top level, well, any level really, is about winning things. It's about glory, you know. And so I've always been one that I like winning things, and that's the type of thing I look for, man. in supporting the team.
You know what? Like I said, I agree, but I want that
You
music.
want that music.
I want that music. I want them people around the center circle flicking that up and down, you know what I mean, with the Champions League ball in them. I need that music. Champions League nights at the Emirates against top players. We're signing big boy players. That's what I want. Listen, I agree with you. I want them trophies, but I want that music, people. So let us know in the comments. Do you want the domestic cups or do you want Champions League?
Do you want Champions League? Do you want the domestic cups or do you want the music? Which one is it?
Yeah, I want the music.
Well, you make some valid points, and but I'm not so sure about what you saying about being able to attract players. Yes, you did name Ozil and Sanchez, but for many years, when we were in the Champions League, we were consistently going after so-called top echelon players, and for whatever reason, we weren't able to attract them. You think that's fair to say? And
yeah, I think a lot of that
every day.
I think a lot of that was down to Gazidis and Wenger, though, man. I think we could have attracted, you know, Luis Suarez wanted to come to Arsenal. We offered £1, over 40 million, you know. So I think a lot of it was down to Arsenal and the way they did business. I would like to think we would act a little bit different now. You know, we just spent 150 million and we're not even in Europe. So, you know, if we was in the Champions League, I think we'd have some spending power. So I think we could attract top players back then. We were very tight with the money.
Yeah. I mean, listen, there's no doubt that if you are seen as one of the better clubs in Europe, then of course, you're going to be able to attract the better players. That goes without saying. But I'm just saying that it doesn't automatically mean that you are going to. So when I hear people say, "Oh, we need to be in the Champions League to attract the top players," I mean, dare I mention his name, Aubameyang? When we got him, we wasn't in the Champions League, was we?
No, it was Europa League. Yeah.
You know, before this kerfuffle, he was probably the biggest and best name we'd have been able to attract to the club for years. Am I right?
Probably since Sanchez. Yeah,
I'm not all too convinced with that argument about Champions League.
You know what? If we get in the top 4, right, and the first game, I'll go to it and I'll let you know about that atmosphere. That Tuesday night against Messi and Mbappe, you know, at the Emirates. We'll probably lose 5-0, but I'll enjoy the night.
I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. I am, I've actually been to a Champions League final. Myself and Robbie went back in 2006.
Yeah.
When we played Barca, I was there, and we was in heaven for a while in that game. Didn't work out for us, but it was a great day out. But even so, we didn't win it. And you know, we are the record holders of the FA Cup, and I think that's something to be proud of. I think sometimes with the fans, sometimes when you're not in something, it can become more attractive to you. You see what I mean?
I agree. Yeah.
Because like I said, I'm not going to forget those times. And there were several. We were qualified for the Champions League. You'd wait for the draw. Oh, we got such and such and such and such. And you think, yeah, man, we should progress. And we didn't even get out the group stage. So, yeah, like I said, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
But thanks for that, bro. It's interesting hearing your opinions on that. And like you were saying, I invite our listeners to give us their thoughts on this. It's always an interesting topic, one that I love debating. So I'll be interested to hear what they got to say. Before I start winding down the show, I know we're going to touch on this next week, but there is a big week coming up for us next week with a big cup game and a big league game. I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts moving forward into next week. Like I said, we will discuss it on the show next week. But big week coming up, bro.
Oh, it's a massive week. I mean, semi-final of a cup competition, and then the North London derby. Who I think it's fair to say at the moment that's one of the teams we're in competition with to try and nick this 4th place. So, you know what? I'd say it's one of the biggest North London derbies in years, if I'm being honest, because we're in a very similar situation. So we can really affect each other, depending on who wins that game. I think the Liverpool game is big as well. Obviously, they've got players at AFCON, Salah and Mane. If we can get a decent result in the away leg, bring them back to the Emirates the following week. You know, that would potentially get us at Wembley. So this is an absolutely massive week for Mikel Arteta. And there's, you know what, there's fine margins in football because we're doing well at the moment. And you think to yourself, if we lost 2 or 3 games in a row, all of a sudden you'd be like, things have really unraveled. But if he can win 2 or 3 games, you know, get us to a final, beat Tottenham, you're thinking this could be one hell of a season for us. So I think our season kind of hanging in the balance at the moment, but I'm excited for it. These are the games that you look forward to at the start of the season, big games, and it's time for our players to turn up. So yeah, a massive week, and it's going to be interesting how he manages the team selection as well.
Absolutely, and that brings me right round to the game on Sunday, because from Sunday, like you said, there's 3 games in the space of a week, and they're all important games. Back to the Forest game then. I'm going to press you for a prediction. Just before I do that, you know Forest better than me. Is there any danger men we need to look out for?
They've got a player called Brennan Johnson. For anyone who remembers, there's a striker called David Johnson who used to play for Forest.
I do, yeah.
It's his son, and I think a lot of Premier League clubs are looking at him. I think Palace and a few others. He plays right wing, very quick, young, dangerous. So whoever plays left back for Arsenal, whether that be Tavares or Tierney, will have to keep an eye on it. But he's probably their best player.
Yeah, could be Kolasinac.
Oh yeah, it could be Kolasinac. No, I don't think he'll go to them depths. But no, Brennan Johnson's probably their star player. But listen, I'm going to go for a Forest win. I think, an Arsenal win. I think Forest will rotate.
Well, slip there.
Oh my days! Yeah, I think Forest will make changes as well. And I don't think this will be their priority. I think they'll concentrate on trying to get in the playoffs. So I'm going to go for an Arsenal win. I'm going to go 3-1 because I think we'll make changes as well. I think Holding and players like that will probably play. So I'm going to go for 3-1 to Arsenal. And like I said, I hope we go on a good run and win this trophy.
I agree, bro. And I think that this game is important, not least because it's the FA Cup. And you've got old school fans like myself who want to win it. But I agree with your point about momentum being a very important thing in football. And so I think if we go there this week, I mean, okay, we're coming off the back of a loss, but it was a loss with honour, if you know what I mean. It wasn't like previous occasions where we've been truly slapped up by City. On this occasion, we were quite unfortunate in many ways, even though it was our own fault. But anyway, we played well, and it was a very good performance. We need another good performance this weekend. We need to beat Forest. I think we can do so by 2 clear goals. And like you said, if we win that game, then we can look forward to the following week, where another 2 big games that both need to be won. So, yeah, I'm going for 2 clear goals. So, we're coming to the end of the show now, bro.
Yes.
Thanks very much for coming on again. And as usual, and giving us your honest and forthright opinions. Tell the people where they can find you on social media, bro.
Yeah, man, check out the channel, Curtis Shaw TV. We just hit 40,000 subscribers today, actually. So a little milestone there. So big up to everyone who's supporting and supporting the channel. Let us know in the comments as well. Champions League or domestic trophies, people. Which one do you think Arsenal need more now? Let us know.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's an ongoing debate. A debate I've had with many fans. I must admit, I'm going to call it and say most of the fans I've spoken to recently seem to be agreeing with you about the Champions League. But is that because we haven't had Champions League for many years?
Yeah, possibly.
Years now, let's be honest. Whereas we have won the FA Cup. So it could be one of those things whereby, because we haven't experienced Champions League football in so long, the fans would prefer that. And I kind of get that reasoning. But all I'm saying is if it comes down to one or the other, obviously we want both. But if it comes down to one or the other, winning trophies or taking part in a competition that we've got very little chance of winning. Or
dun, 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 dun.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to hear what the people say. But listen,
yeah, man, let us know.
Thanks everybody out there for tuning in. We truly appreciate your support. First show of the new year. I'm very excited about that. There's going to be some great shows coming up throughout the year. Wishing you all a happy, healthy new year. Hope you're well, healthy, COVID free. If you are suffering from COVID, wish you a full recovery. And thanks again for Curtis to coming on as usual. And thank you very much. And we see you all guys next week. We're out.